Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back the Director of the Institute for Emerging Issues, Anita Brown-Graham.
Well, folks, I know you've got your mouths full, but if you think we've had a terrific day so far, can I get a thumbs up? Thank you. That's my mom and my best friend in the audience. Just a couple of things before we get started in what I think is going to be a terrific luncheon session. I want to remind the innovators in the room, those people who are from companies or communities who are interested in finding out how they might get their great idea funded to go or scaled up, to go ahead and submit questions, take survey section of the app, selecting the 2015 EIF Finance Panel, right? Second reminder, as you all know, for a number of years, we have been working at IEI to ensure that we're doing a good job of engaging new emerging leaders into the work, and in particular into the topic of the Emerging Issues Forum. This year, as we have done in the past, we have encouraged the innovative spirit of high school students across North Carolina with a $5,000 prize for innovation. You all get to pick the winning team. Voting has been going on for about a week online. Voting will end today at 5 p.m. sharp. Let me encourage you, if you have not already done so, to check out the finalists in this competition and to vote for your favorite idea. You can find these by clicking on the High School Prize for Innovation in the menu action of the app. If you're watching us online, we want you to vote too. So our next session really seeks to try to capture some of the themes that we've heard going throughout this morning. We started with Don Tapscott talking about what it means to self-regulate, to come together, to collectively connect with each other in ways that move an agenda forward. We heard both Rob Atkinson and John Allison talking about the importance of connectivity. We heard from our business panel how important it is to have this collaborative spirit. Well, where does all of that come from? How do we ensure in North Carolina we are doing the things together, in the ways together that move our state forward? We'd like to suggest to you here in the Emerging Issues Forum that much of the answer to those questions, much of the indicators of that ability lie in what is known as the state's civic health. By now, you should have received on your table copies of the executive summary of the 2015 North Carolina Civic Health Index. For those of you who are participating live stream, the link to the executive summary can be accessed on the forum live page, or you can all find it in the resources section of your forum app. My friends, in an era in which we are able to constantly measure our physical health, from counting the number of steps we take each day to tracking every one of the calories you are now consuming, it's unfortunate that we rarely stop to check in on our civic health, which, as we've heard this morning, really is fundamentally about the health of our democracy, and important to this forum is about the health of our ability to innovate. Now, while we didn't strap civic health Fitbits to the arms of 1,000 North Carolinians, as much fun as that might be, we did work with some very special partners at the National Conference on Citizenship to get a large enough sample of North Carolinians to adequately evaluate our state's overall civic health. By using U.S. Census and other government data, the 2015 North Carolina Civic Health Index measures the civic health of our state by focusing on a few, not surprising, key indicators, including interactions with neighbors, group participation, volunteering, charitable giving, and confidence in institutions. It may strike you as a redundant theme of this year's forum, but in the same way that our study on our innovation capacity revealed that North Carolina is simply average as against all 50 states, the same was true when we studied our civic health. There is much work to be done for this state to reap the many advantages of a highly civically engaged population. That's good, because we're all here to do that work. When examining the civic engagement levels of various demographic subgroups, the report also reveals some startling statistics that large groups within the state are substantially disengaged. This includes North Carolina's next generation of leaders, our current young adults. It's part of why we're so excited to have so many of you with us today, beginning your interaction, your connection with us, and helping us to figure out how to engage that many more of you. When comparing the more than 30 Civic Health Index reports from other states and communities across the nation, the evidence was more than clear that communities with high civic engagement levels are economically resilient, innovative, and vibrant. By examining our state's civic strengths and shortcomings, the 2015 North Carolina Civic Health Index highlights for us a really extraordinary opportunity to strengthen our communities, to lift our statewide economy, to improve the bottom lines of businesses of every size, all by improving our state's civic health. If North Carolina truly wants to be a leader in innovation for the decades to come, we really don't have much choice. We have to start now to boost the civic engagement levels of all North Carolinians. The report also highlights a number of tools for building our civic engagement, including IEI's Emerging Issues Commons, which many of you have been using through the app. Through the use of the Commons, this transformative digital civic participation platform, IEI has greatly expanded our connection to citizens and their concerns statewide. Last year, we were able to engage 71,000 North Carolinians through this platform. I don't share this to brag on the work of IEI, although my colleagues really deserve quite a bit of bragging on, but to say that we can do big things in North Carolina, we can connect to many people if we are focused and if we find the right platforms through which to do that. It's also important, though, to ensure that you are being guided by people who are thinking through these issues day in and day out. And to guide the report's creation and use, IEI established a business committee on civic health, whose members are already integrating the report's recommendations into their respective company strategies for civic engagement. Now, you'll hear a little bit later about how other states are approaching their civic health report and the implementation of strategies. It was really important to us as an organization that is focused on North Carolina's continued economic competitiveness to engage the business community in particular in a question of what do we do to improve the civic health in North Carolina. You will see on the screens here that many of the companies engaged in our activity are already using programs to improve their employees and companies' levels of civic engagement. I now want to take a moment to recognize the committee members. Their names are listed on the back of the executive summary. Their companies will be no surprises to those of you in the room, but I hope you will join me in thanking them for their support of this work in North Carolina. Business Committee on Civic Health, please stand. Now, there are all sorts of anchor institutions all across our communities, And it's going to be important if we're going to move forward in developing our civic health to ensure that we're working with every anchor institution we can find. And so I want to tell you that at this moment, I could not be more delighted to be able to introduce to you a very special group of civic leaders in this room. It's a relatively new group for the Institute for Emerging Issues. Thanks to the generous support of the Duke Endowment in partnership with the Duke Divinity School and the Thriving Rural Communities Initiative, we were able to bring 23 rural pastors from across the state to be with us at this forum on innovation. These are people who know firsthand the challenges and assets in a community. They know what it takes to move a community to action. They know what it means to thrive on the connections of others. We are so thrilled to have them with us, and may I ask if you would please stand. Glad you gave a great applause. Otherwise, I was going to have each one of them say the grace, and you were going to have to wait until they finish eating. Churches, corporations, and schools are all examples of the critical anchor institutions that can strengthen and support civic engagement in a community. As we find in the Civic Health Index report, many North Carolinians are civically engaged with these institutions, whether it's at your church's food drive, your company's paid time off to volunteer, serving in your child's PTA. Many of our engagement opportunities are organized and hosted by these anchor institutions. Now, we've spent quite a bit of time talking about innovation in our commercial sector. But as we move to this conversation about civic engagement, I think it is high time for us to recognize that there's also a lot of innovation taking place in our social sector. And with that, I am excited to introduce to you the next RTP Innovator Spotlight.